What's up, YouTube? This is Kiko here, bringing you guys something that a lot of you have been asking me for, and it is a Vanguard introduction or tutorial or whatever you want to call it. As you guys may have seen in a previous video, I opened up a booster box and 2 starter decks of Cardfight Vanguard. This is a card game that is not out in America. The English sets were released in Singapore on December 3rd. Japan and a few other places have had this for a while, and it's been going over really well. There is an anime that you can watch on YouTube. It's called Cardfight, and then 2 exclamation points, Vanguard, and you can check them out. And I just wanted to kind of give you guys a brief tutorial of what Vanguard is. I'm still learning myself. I haven't perfected all the rules yet, but I've got the basics down, and I thought I'd introduce to you guys what I know as of now. So, in this episode, all I'm going to do is start with the cards, kind of explain what they are, what the symbols mean, and, you know, a little bit about them. So let's start with this card right over here. This card's name is Stardust Trumpeter, as you can see. The first thing we're going to talk about your cards are grades. Now, your grade is up here in the top left-hand corner. As you can see, Stardust Trumpeter is a grade 0. Marin, Little Sage Marin, is a grade 1. Blaster Blade is a grade 2. And King of Knights, Alfred, is a grade 3. Now, why is that important? Well, that is how you upgrade your Vanguards during the game. So, what I'm going to do is kind of explain to you guys more about the card right now. This right here, in the, let's see, come in here. Okay, this number that you guys see right here is your power. Essentially, in Yu-Gi-Oh terms, it's your attack. So, Stardust Trumpeter has 6,000 power. This is the amount of power that you use when you attack another Vanguard or a rear guard. As you guys can see here, Little Sage Marin is 8,000. Blaster Blade is 9,000. Alfred is 10,000. So as you can see, as you move up in grade, you move up in power. Also, the grade 0s here, as you can see, do not have effects. Neither does this grade 1. This grade 2, however, does have an effect. I will explain more about the effects later. And so does my grade 3. Now, another type of card, or symbol that I'm going to talk about on a card, are triggers. Like I said, we're going to talk about triggers. A trigger will be signified by this emblem right up here. This is a draw trigger. We don't need to worry about the types of triggers at the moment, as far as what they do. But there are 4 kinds of triggers. There's a draw trigger, a stand trigger, a critical trigger, and a heal trigger. The only thing to really know about these overall at this particular moment is that in one deck you can only have up to 4 heal triggers, but you have exactly 16 triggers in a deck, and you run a 50 card deck. So what does this little emblem right here mean? Well, this means it's a critical, which is essentially damage. So let's just pretend that Governon right here was attacking, let's say he is attacking Flogel right here. Flogel has 5,000 power. Governon also has 5,000 power. When you attack, if you attack another Vanguard or a rear guard, and your attack is equal to or higher than your opponent's, then you do damage, which is signified by that symbol, which would be you do 1 damage. Same thing here. 1 damage. The goal of the game is to deal your opponent 6 total damage. There are other things that come into play regarding damage, how much a person can take per turn, and how triggers work. But we're going to go over triggers in another video. The next thing I'm going to go over are the symbols regarding to boost intercept, and twin drive. So now we're going to go back to these guys for a second. Let's talk about boosting. The boost symbol is signified by this arrow that points up. Intercepting is by this little arrow that points down and to the left. And a twin drive check is signified by this double arrow that crosses and points up. Now you guys may be asking, what does boost, intercept, and twin drive check even mean? Well, let's go ahead and talk about boosting. Alright, so when we're talking about boosting monsters, here's what we're talking about. In a standard Vanguard field, and I will need to show you guys this eventually with a map, your Vanguard is in the middle, you have 2 rear guards on the front row, and 3 rear guards behind them, 1 behind each monster. The guy behind the monster, or the Vanguard, is the one that boosts it. So this guy can only boost this guy. If I had another person out here, for instance, he cannot boost her. It would have to be a guy back here. But we're not going to worry about that at the moment. So what would happen is, if this guy is at 8,000, and let's pretend Flogel is at 10,000, I can boost Marin with the power that my rear guard has, which is 5,000. So I will rest my rear guard to add 5,000. So I will attack Flogel by adding 8,000 to 5,000 for a total of 13,000. Let's pretend Flogel still has 10,000. It does 1,300 to 10, or to 10,000, or to 10,000, 13,000 to 10,000. So my opponent would take 1 damage. Now that would depend on a drive check, trigger check, but like I said, that will be left in a later example. So all boosting is when a monster gives the monster in front extra power. A monster that can do that must have this emblem right here, like I stated earlier. It must have that boost emblem, which is that one. I don't want you guys to be confused. It's the little arrow that is pointing up. Alright, so now, since we've got that down, let's talk about intercepting. Alright guys, now we're going to talk about intercepting. Let's pretend that right now Alfred is my Vanguard, which is your leader or your main attacker. Blaster Blade is my rear guard, and he has this guy attached to him. This guy is attached to Alfred, and Marin is over here with nobody attached. But they will be in the rest position, because we're just going to assume that they had attacked on my turn. It's my opponent's turn now. Now, let's pretend that my opponent's monster, right now it has 8,000. Okay? And my guy has 10,000 power. Let's assume that this guy has 11,000 power. So he is going to attempt to attack with his 11,000. I can now take my Blaster Blade or my Marin, whichever one, Blaster Blade, because Marin does not have an intercept ability, and I can intercept, which means I take the Blaster Blade and I put him in the Guardian Circle, which is right above. I will discuss the field in a later video. What now happens is this shield right here. This shield is what is used to help defend your Vanguard. So what's going to happen is that when I move Blaster Blade over, this 5,000 in the shield gets added to the 10,000 power of my Vanguard. So what we're pretending now is this 11,000 monster is attacking my 10,000 monster, who's going to get a 5,000 boost due to the shield. Since he gets the 5,000 boost, I'm 4,000 attack power higher, and I take no damage. At the end of the turn, the Guardian that had just intercepted will go and be retired, which in Yu-Gi-Oh terms would be like being sent to the graveyard. So that's the theory of intercepting, and intercepting can only happen with a monster who has this arrow once again. So I hope you guys understand. So I hope you guys understood that. The absolute last thing I'm going to talk about, guys, is clans. A clan will be listed right here. Blaster Blade is, and I'm sorry it's not focusing, Blaster Blade is a Royal Paladin. This is a Royal Paladin deck that I am kind of showing you guys. As you can see, all these different guys here say Royal Paladin in where they are, where it lists their clan. There are many different types of clans out there. I guess you could almost call it like when a card says, if a 6 samurai monster is summoned, then do this. It's a 6 samurai, so they work together. Later on, so when a trigger is activated, a trigger only works if the trigger that is on this card right here, like this trigger is on a Royal Paladin, if a monster that is being attacked is a Royal Paladin. So my Royal Paladin is being attacked, I do a check for a trigger, and if I hit a trigger, it has to be a Royal Paladin for it to activate. If it is not a Royal Paladin, it does not activate. So mixing clans can be kind of a risky business as far as this game is concerned. So guys, I hope you liked this first explanation of Vanguard. It explains the cards and kind of what some of them do. Cards also have effects with many other symbols, as you guys can see here. But I will not go into these symbols as of yet. I am not perfect at this game. I'm still learning rules and play, play mechanic and everything like that. So if any of you guys out there have been playing Vanguard for a while and you want to give me some tips, feel free to leave that in the comment section below or send me a PM. I hope you guys will thumbs up this video. I will not be doing more Vanguard than Yu-Gi-Oh! I will not be quitting Yu-Gi-Oh! This is just something fun that I want to start before this game gets big, and so one day maybe I'll be one of the original people on YouTube that had the English stuff up to kind of teach people how to play. In the next video, I will go over battle and how a battle works, and then later on we'll go into what some of these other symbols mean in the text and what different effects can happen on the field, and we'll also get into trigger checks, damage checks, drive checks, all that kind of thing. Please thumbs this up. Please give me some constructive criticism if you have any, but I do hope you'll thumbs the video up, and I hope you guys will subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video.